Juniors is coming out soon, maybe even a week from now. About a day ago, lead developer Ramanov announced that the major bugs they had been struggling with had been resolved and that the game is in a fully playable, optimized state. Juniors was originally slated to come out a couple of months ago, but in the wake of the Pear scandal, it never did. I released an update video a few weeks ago explaining what I knew, and a lot has happened since then. In the wake of my second Juniors video, Ramanov made the following statement. Juniors is made by an insanely talented group of individuals, and I'm not letting my stupid actions ruin their success and their game. I will be working quickly to finish the game, and I'll release it as soon as I can so you can see and appreciate the work that they put into it. Shortly after this, Ramanov reached out to me and we spoke regarding his intentions for Juniors. I've done a lot of interviews since I started my channel at the beginning of this year, and usually when you talk to someone, they're on their best behavior. They voluntarily agreed to speak with me, someone who they know intends to make their statements public. Of course they're going to be very careful about what they say. Even then, I'm not out here trying to gotcha people. I always run my videos past the subjects ahead of time just for fact-checking purposes. Regardless, the point is that people usually act a little differently when they know that they're talking to what amounts to a reporter. Usually. Sometimes people end up saying way more than you ever expected them to, and you end up getting a dramatically different interview from the one you... Speaking to Ramanov was like night and day though. It was like I was talking to a completely different person than the one I did for my initial Juniors video months ago. Ramanov is quite different when he's not in PR mode, and it was honestly a little refreshing to finally talk to the actual person behind Juniors. Ramanov claims that he is focused on getting Juniors out the door. He maintains his intentions to leave the FNAF fangame scene after Junior's release, indicating that his plan is to give it to Derek. This is a good outcome for everyone. The game can come out in a polished state, we all get to play it, and everyone who worked on the game gets to see their project come to light, Ramanov included. Furthermore, by giving the project to Derek and the other team members, it ensures that continued development and bug fixes can occur even after Ramanov's planned departure. While speaking to Ramanov, he rejected the notion that he had been holding the game hostage, and he asserts that the truth was actually another theory that I had put in my second Juniors video, that the game just wasn't ready for its initial release. There were a lot of issues that still needed ironing out, and I got the sense that the game was going to be delayed no matter what, even if the Pear controversy hadn't happened. For the sake of everyone who worked on Juniors, as well as for us fans who just want to play and enjoy a cool FNAF fan game, I'm not going to address anything on it. I really don't think anyone is interested in hearing about that again. A week ago, Ramanov made another update indicating that they'd be adding some new characters to the game. It turns out that in the time since the Pear scandal broke, Ramanov had been working on adding some new content to the game on top of the existing optimizations and bug fixes. This is neat, and as one of the few people who have access to a build of Juniors, I'm especially excited to see what will be new in the final release. While I maintain that my concerns regarding running a random executable file that Ramanov uploaded are legitimate, Ramanov did take exception to them, and I do need to note that. This is one of the reasons it's such a relief that he's turning the game over to trusted members of the fangame scene. I know that will make a lot of people feel a lot better about it, especially considering Windows will most certainly flag the game as malware the first time you launch it, regardless. This is extremely common for fangames, and it's just an unfortunate reality of how digital certification works these days. One of the tools developers use to fight malware is by digitally signing their executables, and when Windows sees this weird program that was built by a team of volunteers, it has no idea what it is. It's sus. Just prepare yourselves for the fact that more likely than not, Windows is going to complain about Juniors when you first launch it, and that doesn't mean it has a virus or anything like that. Those of you who play a lot of fan games are surely already familiar with this reality. Regardless, by turning the game over to others, they can comb through it and make sure that there's nothing nefarious in there, and that does put my mind at ease. I know this is a really important issue for a lot of people, myself included, so I wanted to take special time to address it. Ramanov hands over the game, and then it's up to Derek and the remaining team members to see what they need to do. There may be some more efforts necessary upon receiving the project. Unforeseen things can always happen, and there can always be last-minute delays. However, assuming things go well, we should have the game in a couple of weeks, and that's a pretty satisfying outcome. Honestly, as far as salvaging a crappy situation goes, I think things are looking really promising for Junior's release. The extra time the delay provided hasn't gone to waste, and the game that we're getting is surely a much more stable, enjoyable, and content-rich game than the one we would have gotten had it been released a month or two ago. Ramanov still intends to leave the fangame scene, but he'll be turning the game over to people who can maintain it and update it as necessary. Furthermore, this will also reassure those of us who are concerned about the potentially dangerous software included within the game's executable. It's a win all around. For the sake of everyone who worked on Juniors, I hope that people are able to enjoy the game regardless of any anger they may have over the prior controversy. There's no reason to deprive ourselves of a cool game like Juniors, especially when it's free anyway. At the end of my recent video covering the joy of creation, I explained that I didn't allow any controversies surrounding the game's developer or the fanverse or whatever impact my ability to enjoy it. The fanverse and the FNAF fangame scene as a whole are rife with controversy, and yeah, people are obviously interested in some of that stuff. That's irrefutable, and we see it play out in the numbers time and time again. That said, I think it's important that we draw the line somewhere. Personally, I think that it's profoundly stupid to deprive oneself of a free game that one would enjoy all in protest of one of its contributors. It's like complaining about the free Security Breach DLC. It's free, come on. I'm sure a lot of people who are still angry over the pair situation will try to decry Juniors and downplay it, and I just don't think that's fair to everyone who worked on the project, nor the game itself. Juniors is not Ramanov, it's not the pair, it's not a person, and it didn't do anything wrong. It's just a game, and if the early sketchy build that I have is any indication, it's a really impressive game that I'm incredibly excited for. Believe me, I cannot wait to play the final release. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, thanks for watching.